Katowice is one of, if not the most historic city in Counter-Strike, having hosted big events and 3 majors in the Spodek since 2014. And needless to say, a whole lot of legendary moments have taken place in that time. So today, we're going to run back the years and look at all of the most iconic moments of IEM Katowice and all of its iterations over the last decade. Snax over his career has grown a reputation of being a very goofy guy, but also one that is very sneaky beaky like. And this reputation all started with one massive play in 2014. In the Katowice Grand Final versus NIP, Snax had pushed up apartments and found himself behind a totally unaware Exist, and instead of taking the free kill, Snax bided his time and turned this situation into a round-winning 3K.
But Snax is walking around and just walking in a Snax wonderland. He gets himself a hat-trick of frags. He waited, and then he finished off the job.
Given this was a major grand final, nerves were running incredibly high for everybody, so displaying this kind of trigger discipline and then actually hitting the shots took nerves of steel from Snax. And this kind of dominance from him is what powered Virtus.pro to plow over NIP 2-0 and win the major in front of their home crowd. For 2015, we're not looking at something that happened inside the server, but actually outside. On the first day of competition, just seconds before their opening match versus 3D Max, Pasha Biceps from Virtus.pro decided to open up a single Huntsman case, and luck was really on his side as he actually got a knife from this. It's just, yeah, an incredibly lucky moment, and seeing the excitement from VP and all of the confused reactions from TSM and everybody else is just pretty funny. Now, I don't really know where this iconic knife ended up as it's not in Pasha's inventory anymore, but what I do know is that you can get some cool skins in your inventory thanks to this video's sponsor, Pirate Swap. Pirate Swap is a website where you can easily and instantly trade, buy, and sell CS2 skins. It's a great way to mix up your inventory from time to time, and Pirate Swap is running a lot of specials right now, like the first trade bonus, which helps you get a few extra dollars out of your first few trades. Or if you want to buy skins with cash, using my promo code NOSLEEP gives you an extra 5% on your deposit. There's also an achievement and giveaways section where you can earn by simply trading on the site. There's never been a better time to try Pirate Swap, so get yourself some fresh new skins at the link down below. At Katowice 2016, the overpass game between Luminosity and Na'Vi in the playoffs was just a crazy map. If you haven't seen this match before, I recommend going and watching it right now, as it's definitely one of the best CSGO maps ever played. There was a lot of 6 shots, plenty of overtime, and crazy boosts, but definitely what's remembered the most is this clutch from Fallen.
The T's are reacting fast as team kills coming in. Fallen actually gets seized as well. This kill is there. It's going to be guarded. Now it's time to fall back, and it's Fallen going to be capitalizing there as well. As I said, you've won the round at that point. Why are you giving your up away? But still, Fallen battling on here. It's going to be a 3-on-1 situation after such a glorious play there from the CT.
Flag saying, come and get me. 17 points of health in a dream. This would be an ace clutch from Fallen.
I'm believing.
You're a bit of a believer. Would you suggest that you don't want to stop believing?
Why don't you cast around?
Okay, tags up. 1. He's going to get... Oh! I'm starting to believe as well, Henry, because he's gone and taken flaming. Oh, Fallen! Stop blowing my mind! This is going to be absolute madness. A round that we will forget, because there goes Zeus. Saving the day for Na'Vi, but could you stop? He's actually got away with it. Zeus is out of the round.
No way.
Even though Fallen didn't get the last kill, this clutch still had everything. A no-scope, an impossibly fast flick, and it gave birth to a whole new iconic line from the casters. And in case you missed it, Fallen actually killed one of his teammates in all the madness, so it actually started a debate onto what this should even be called. Because Fallen did get 5 kills in the round, but one of them was a teammate, so was this an ace or not? Tell me what you think in the comments. In the Katowice 17 Grand Final, we saw FaZe facing off against Astralis. FaZe had taken the first map of the best of 5, and it was on Overpass where Dupree pulled off this amazing ace.
Here isn't going to be pressure, but he doesn't know that. He's also flashed off Eagle. Works though. Limited vision, limited weapons. Doesn't even matter. Dupree! Oh, the 4th as well. How sick is this round for him? And he's looking for the ace. The first ace from anyone on Astralis in this tournament, and now they're getting pumped.
FaZe Clan was running onto a B site that had only 3 defenders with pistols on it, so this should have been a very easy 12th round for them, but then Dupree just wiped them with only 10 bullets. This miraculous ace of course won Astralis the round, but it also broke FaZe's economy, and they'd have to eco for the next 2 rounds, which allowed Astralis to take the lead. And FaZe would only win 1 more round after this, so this Deagle ace totally shifted the momentum and definitely won Astralis the map. The next 2 maps would be very close, but Astralis would pull through and win the series 3-1. But it could have been a very different story without this heroic Deagle ace from Dupree. If you thought Fallen's clutch in 2016 was good, Guardian dropped one that might be even better in 2018. Same weapons, same map, but instead a 1v5 in the grand finals.
Always going to go for the contact play, is suddenly the last alive.
Oh, this is a done round. Guardian now is the question as to whether he'll save the AWP. Good flashbang, could get a couple more out of this one. And Fnatic are starting to crumble. What's going on? One player has found 3 kills. Guardian looking to ace this one out. This could be one of the best rounds of the entire tournament so far. 4 kills picked up. It's down to Crimped. This was a 5 versus 1 map. And he's got time as well.
We'll wait for this to go to time. Incendiary could be a factor because if he puts it in front of Guardian, how does he work back in? It's gone toward the dumpster. That means Guardian knows exactly where to look.
Oh!
And he's got all 5.
There he is!
Admittedly, Fnatic played this situation pretty poorly as they were super eager to get that op out of Guardian's hands and put FaZe on an eco round, but still Guardian only had a chance to clutch this if he hit all of his shots perfectly, which he absolutely did. The situation very quickly turned from Guardian fighting to just stay alive to fighting to win the round. But sadly for FaZe Clan, there wasn't much to cheer for after this clutch. They'd only win 4 more rounds before Fnatic won overpass 16-7. FaZe would win the next map, sending the series to a map 5, but after a very close overtime fight, Fnatic would cross the finish line and be the winners of Katowice 2018. Probably what's most remembered from Katowice 2019 is not a highlight, but instead what nearly was a highlight. The big story all event was ENCE. This was the team's first major, and in the main stage they had lost their first 2 games, but with their backs against the wall, ENCE would clutch up and win their next 3 games in a row to stay alive and qualify for playoffs. Their quarterfinal match would be against the number 2 ranked Liquid, but ENCE would upset Liquid 2-0 and continue on to the semifinals where they would face Na'Vi. On map 1, ENCE would continue to surprise everybody as they completed a last-second comeback to take the series lead. On map 2, however, Na'Vi crushed them 16-3, and on map 3, they would also win the second pistol round after a very strong first half. So with a score of 12-6, it now looked like ENCE was out of gas and that their miracle run was over. But then little by little, round by round, ENCE started clawing their way back into the game. And suddenly, the score would be level at 13-13, and that's when we saw this chaos break out.
Close. Sergey tried to take advantage of it. Missed shots go either direction. But all this does is serve to allow Alexi to come out from jungle. Watch it, because he's got the lineup simple. He doesn't have the time. He's got to go to the AK, get the kill. This guy is on another level. He's going to have time to put the bomb down. And X7, he knows he's in rotation to flash out. He's got the information. He's got just enough. He goes back to the AWP. But is that what's going to cost him? It is. It is going to cost him.
Simple was putting up another unreal performance at Katowice, and with the time so low in this round, it looked unwinnable. But then after spamming the guy at Ticket Booth, it looked like we were about to see another brilliant clutch out of him. But Nerves got the best of Simple and he missed his final few shots. And it's that reaction from him that's so iconic. This reaction is just the culmination of dread. It looked like Na'Vi should have closed out the game pretty comfortably, but they let ENCE back in. And those missed shots meant that Na'Vi was now the one on the ropes at the very end of the game. And compare Simple's reaction to the stone cold face of X7. ENCE would finish the comeback and move into the grand finals versus Astralis, but would be pushed aside with a 2-0 as Astralis won their 3rd major. This is Nexa. Believe it or not, but there was actually a time where his highlights were more than just extinguishing a Molotov.
Nade doesn't finish him off, 10 HP, now Nexa deploys the extinguish. He's learned his lesson.
And at Katowice 2020, he got the highlight of his career against 100 Thieves.
He needs at least 2 kills out of a chance in the round. There's the first, not bad at all. There's the second, it's working out. Let's go, Nexa! My goodness gracious me, he's pulled it off. We said he needs 2.
And on the cross, he has to be precise, and Nexa not only is an in-game leader, but a fragger as well. He does it all, and a kiss, sayonara.
4 perfectly placed shots to steal this round away from 100 Thieves. and then finishing it off with the AK for the ace. The clip speaks for itself, and there's not much to say beyond this, as 100 Thieves never put up a fight in this series. After the stomp, G2 would keep powering forward all the way into the grand finals where they would meet Na'Vi, but Na'Vi would win Katowice this year by crushing G2 3-0. If you've seen my video on ROPS, you know that Katowice 2022 would be the first LAN that he played with FaZe, and it'd also be the first trophy that the team picked up before going on to win the Antwerp Major. But there's also a few things I left out of that video. For Katowice this year, FaZe was not invited to the main stage, but instead just the play-in stage. And a week before the event was set to start, ROPS actually tested positive for Corona, so he'd be missing the first bit of the event. JKS was brought in to be a sub, and they'd play with him in ROPS' place for their first 3 games. After this, ROPS was cleared to play, and FaZe would have their full lineup for their next 2 games, and they'd also qualify for playoffs in the process. But also in the next few days, Rain would also test positive for Corona, and so they'd have to employ JKS yet again. Now, so far in the event, JKS had just been simply okay, but now with Gambit in front of them, it looked like FaZe was now cooked. But as it turns out, JKS and FaZe did not give a single fuck, as they 2-0'd Gambit, 2-0'd Heroic, and then 3-0'd G2 in the grand finals. And so the team with 2 different sick players and a sub would be lifting the first big trophy of 2022. And when you look at the FaZe player stats for Katowice, the maps played shows you that winning this Katowice trophy really was a 6-man effort. Katowice 2023, there was a number of good plays, none of them quite stand out like previous years, but there is one play, one call that we've heard time and time again. In the group stage, Vitality was playing against Fnatic and ZywOo was just doing his usual ZywOo things. In a round on Nuke, ZywOo would pull off a very nice 1v4 clutch and it got the casters a bit excited.
Fnatic don't want to give him 1v1s. Crims with that jiggle has given ZywOo a chance. My God, he's a ZywOo, the best in the game, steps up with 4 unbelievable scenes here. He wants the Spodek, he wants this for Vitality.
In case you didn't hear it, the phrase "he's a Baibu" was said, which is already a funny phrase, but ESL would also make this call part of their production and use it as a transition clip for the ESL Pro League streams. So if you are just even a casual watcher of ESL Pro League, you absolutely have heard this call dozens and dozens of times. It quickly became a meme and was just pounded into our skulls. So much so that some people would just beg ESL for anything else, and I think this comment summarizes the feelings perfectly. And finally, at Katowice 2024, we saw the true arrival of Donk on LAN. Yeah, he'd already played and won 2 LANs with Spirit before this, but the level of competition at those was nothing like we see at Katowice, and Donk's absolutely shat on the competition. Team Spirit started their campaign by 13-0ing Apex, and they would only lose 1 map for the rest of the event. In fact, of the 15 maps that Team Spirit played at Katowice, their opponents were averaging just 6.3 rounds per map. Not even half of what's needed to win a game. Spirit just cruised through the entire event, and Donk was a highlight machine the entire time. It really just wasn't even a fair competition. In the grand finals versus FaZe, Donk would score a 1.96 rating in their 3-0 win, giving him a 1.70 rating for the entire event. This blew previous grand final records out of the water, and tied the record for best event rating, which was performed by Nico at ESL One New York in 2017, but comparing the size of Katowice to New York, Donk's performance was far more impressive. So while I don't want to say this was the best performance in Counter-Strike history, this may be the best performance in Counter-Strike history, and all performed by a 17-year-old kid who was just coming onto his first ever Tier 1 LAN. And so that brings us to 2015, which I sure hope also brings us a lot of legendary Counter-Strike moments. Tell me in the comments what your favorite Katowice moment was, or if I missed anything. Thank you to Pirate Swap for sponsoring this video. Liking and subscribing is the best way to help me keep making videos like this, and thank you for watching.